Katie here from the Scrappy Sisters, and I'm up today with a fun, different layout for me, and I'm doing a little bit of mixed media, which I don't usually do. I prepped my page with gesso off camera, and I am making a bit of a rainbow layout using my mists. I don't have a lot of mixed media, so I mainly just have mists, couple of acrylic paints, and that's about it really. Some texture paste and things like that, but I don't have much else in the way of mixed media, so I just make do with what I have. This was originally for a challenge in the Use Your Stash, I think, or one of a Facebook group I'm a part of, and it was using a rainbow theme, but letting you in on a little secret, this layout took me a month to finish, maybe 3 weeks to finish. I actually started filming this in late January, and at the date that I'm doing this voiceover, it's late February, and I only finished this layout kind of mid-Feb, and that is because my little boy arrived slightly earlier than anticipated. So he was actually born on the 22nd of January, which was 2.5 weeks earlier, I guess, than I was sort of thinking he would come. So he arrived, I was 37 weeks, or 37 plus 4. And yes, I'll tell you all about it in another layout where I actually scrap a photo of him, because we've had quite an adventure, to say the least, with his arrival. But we are home, we are settled, he's a month old, and life is grand. I can't imagine life without him. I'm taking the opportunity while he is sleeping to do this voiceover, but my guess is I'm going to get interrupted. I've got the video monitor in front of me, so if you hear crying, it will just be him waking up from his nap. So I should go back to what I'm doing, shouldn't I? I have these fun Snapchat filter photos, and I love taking them, but there's only so many Snapchat filter photos you can include in an album. So I just decided I would use these fun photos in this rainbow layout, because I think the colours in the photos really kind of match the rainbow theme I was going for. So I went through all of my ephemera stash and took out, I think, 6 different kind of colours. You can see them in the tubs beside me on the left there where I'm scrapping. So I took out those and put them, colour coded everything, put them in tubs, and that is what I'm going to use to create my layout. So I used 6 different coloured mists and created this really cool effect. Actually, I really like it. I mean, the end result layout is not my favourite, but it was something very different for me, and I do love it. I do like it, and I can see myself playing a little bit more with rainbow. But yeah, that's that. So I mounted my photos on white cardstock just because obviously it's so busy in the background, and all my embellishing is just as busy. So I needed something to kind of, I guess, make sure that you could see the photos on the page. And I'm just working out how to put these out. I did have an extra photo, you can see me there in the pink bow, but I did decide not to use it because there's no pink in this rainbow, and so I didn't think the pink really worked. And I know I've got less photos than I have colours, but I think that's fine, because I still think it works. And yeah, so I decided to pop all of my photos up on foam dots, which... Is that what I'm doing now? No. Oh, I'm starting with the red colour, and now I'm popping them up on foam dots because I knew that I wanted to layer some things under photos and whatnot, so I just decided to stick my photos down now that I'm happy with where they are, just to stick them down and then just embellish around them. And this is a very busy layout. It also took me quite some time to put together just because it was quite fiddly with all the different embellishment pieces that I'm sticking down. So that's why it is a longer layout than I normally do. So I think this video is like 22 minutes long, which is much longer than what I normally film. But that's okay. You're just going to get a long video from me today. And hopefully the next video from me on my channel will be a video of my son. Introducing him to you all. I just haven't printed off any photos of him yet, and I know that he is now a month old, but I haven't printed any. I've taken a lot, but I haven't printed any. So I am going by colour, and that is how I am going to put this layout together. So once I've stuck all the photos down, which I'm doing now, or sticking down the last one now, I am then going to put the embellishments on by colour and just work my way through all of the different colours tubs I have on the left there. So obviously I am starting with the red, and then working through the yellow, and then the sort of minty green, and then the darker green, and then the blue, and then the purple. So that's how I have worked it all. So I've stuck down, or almost stuck down, all my photos, just sticking down the last one now. And then you will see me start on the embellishments. Now what I have tried to do, and I know this is a bit weird, is I have included so many random embellishments on this layout. In the red section, I've got like a little button with a clock on it. I don't even know what that is. I mean, the florals are fine. In the orange section, I've got a couple of tickets. In the yellow section, I've got like lemons and a pear and a, what's that called, a pretzel. There's just so many random things that go on this layout, but I just figured if anywhere I was going to include randomness, it was going to be on this rainbow layout. So I actually probably stuck on a few things that I wouldn't necessarily use very much on other layouts. It was a good way to use up some of that really random ephemera that I had lying around. So here I am just going through and just creating my little clusters before I stick anything down. If I haven't already, there's a few times where I cut off some of the green stems and leaves that are in some of the floral pieces, because I don't want any kind of other colour to intrude on my rainbow effect. So you can see I'm sort of looking at the orange and the red, not together because, you know, I'm not doing them together, but just at least looking where I want the clusters to go, because my rainbow strips of colour aren't particularly big. So there is quite a few places where I kind of not overlap the colours, but I'm creating a little orange cluster right at the top above the first photo, or the top right of the first photo. But then I'm creating 2 yellow clusters, which I end up moving them to underneath the photos, but I do create 2 yellow clusters and 1 orange cluster, and I create 2 red clusters. So there's sort of there's no rule of thirds or anything like that in this particular layout, because I create a lot of clusters. Excuse me, I'm going to sneeze. No, I'm not going to sneeze. I'm not going to, what is it? Deafen you all with a sneeze while I'm filming this voiceover. So I'm going through the tubs, that's all I'm doing, looking at what embellishments I'm going to use, cutting off the leaves, as I said, of some of the floral pieces, because I didn't want that green to kind of take away from the layout. And if I'm not already doing it, I know I just start sticking randomly. I just start sticking things down. I don't overthink it after a while, I just stick. So I hope you've enjoyed the videos. I had pre-filmed quite a lot of videos. In fact, I think by the time you see this, it will be March. So my baby will probably be almost 2 months old by the time you see this video. Although if I do manage to scrapbook a layout of him, I might sneak it in a bit early in the schedule, which might be a bit confusing because some of the other videos will refer to the fact that I haven't had a baby yet, but I had. But I just know that some of you will be wondering whether the baby has arrived and all of that stuff. And of course he has. So yeah, I would like to, I guess, introduce him, for want of a better word, to all of my YouTube friends. But yeah, we'll see what we can do. I am just looking at the kind of schedule now, and I think, yeah, it'll be March, early March by the time you see this video, and then hopefully by the time you see one of my son, it will only be sort of mid-March by the time that comes out, which will come out in no time because it's already the end of February. How time flies when you've got a newborn and you don't leave the house, hey? But anyway, I am a little tired. I am a little sleep deprived. We all know well, for those of you that have children, you know what life is like with a newborn. So, you know, my life with him has been no exception. He's sleeping well, but he still only sleeps, 2 to 3 hours during the day and 3 to 4 hours overnight. Otherwise, he's up and feeding and whatnot. But he's doing all the things that a regular newborn should be doing, and it's super cute. So you can see me here, as I said before, sorry, just refocusing on what we're doing for the layout. I am just sticking things down because I decided that what's the point in overcomplicating things, just stick it down. Let's just don't worry about overthinking the ephemera. Just add it on, get the layout finished. I did make this when my son was born, so after he was born, so I only had a limited time to get scrapping in while he was sleeping, and so I didn't want to overcomplicate it, and I think at this point he was sleeping in the pram beside me, and so I was like, just get it done before he wakes up. So yeah, stick. So you can see here I'm just stapling a couple of things down the bottom. That's where I added the pear. Sorry, I should have pointed that out. The pear and the pretzel shape, and I've added the lemons, and all sorts of randomness that goes on this layout. So I'm just trimming off the overlap, and then I think I'll be moving on to the tealy colour. So I think I've done the orange, the yellow, and the pinky reddy colour. It's more red than pink. And I think now I might be moving on to the teal, are we? Or the greeny colour? Let us see. Oh, moving things around everywhere. Oh no, I'm adding one more little red cluster down the bottom there. I think I had a few more things that I just thought I'd like to get on the page, and that little spot was going to be a bit bare. So it's hard for me to see on this tiny screen what I am adding, but I know what I end up with. I add a vellum butterfly and another die cut butterfly and a little vellum heart into that section, and I add that little ephemera piece, that acetate piece up the top. It does say hello summer, and when these photos were taken, it wasn't really summer. It certainly was edging more towards summer than not, but it's certainly not summer, but I don't care, the colours work. The photo's a fun photo, although I guess it is an autumn photo. However, it was spring in Australia because we're the opposite months to the US, so the opposite season, sorry, to the US. Yeah, so you can see me here. I'm popping out the vellum butterfly. Had a few of the little bits still stuck in the holes. The vellum bits hadn't cut through properly, so I'm just popping those out with my spiky tool. Could actually be a pen. It's hard to see here, and I filmed this a while ago between filming and the voiceover, but I'm just getting rid of all those little bits so you can see that detail, although I do cover it up with a butterfly die cut anyway, so probably didn't need to spend so much time poking that out. Oh dear. So here you go, I'm sticking that down, I'm adding the butterfly on top, and I am going to use my tiny attacher to staple that down, and I'm just working on how to staple that so it doesn't look funny. So I stapled it right down the middle of the butterfly, and then if I haven't already, I add the little vellum heart, and I am just using double-sided tape to stick that down because there's a the mist is on the background. You can't actually see the double-sided tape at all. So now I'm moving on to the sort of aquary, tealy, I don't really know, but it's the kind of greeny colour. And I'm going to create a few clusters with that. And I have a few different shades of green in this tub. And I'd separated them. And you can see me here. That I'd wanted the lighter kind of minty, I guess, tub first. And then I'm going to create some clusters with that. And I had quite a few pieces that I wanted to make sure I got on the page, just again because I wanted to use up that random ephemera. I don't want to keep random ephemera because it is difficult to use. And then I think this is the point in the layout where I'm like, don't overthink things, let's just start sticking things down. So I've got that big ampersand that I use down the bottom, and I'm trying a few other little bits of ephemera down there that I think sort of tie in terms of the colour scheme. I've got that love heart, which I end up using in a different cluster. I think I put a few florals down. I've got a border strip that I cut in half. I think I'm cutting the stems off one of the flowers. Oh, I might have been cutting a red flower off actually, which I will use, and that will stay there in that little cluster. and then I've got some little, what do you call them, hexagon pieces, which I'm going to add up the top there, and they stay up there too, where I've placed them in the photo. And then, that was a fabric sticker, I think, that I'm using. And here's me just going, right, just stick it down. So I've stuck down the ampersand. I'm adding this little floral piece with my stapler, my tiny attacher, and I come back and do add another sticker to that little cluster. And now I'm sticking down this border strip, which I cut in half, and I'm sticking half down the bottom and half at the top of the photo. I knew I'd lost a little piece, that's why I tipped up my layout then. I'd lost a little piece underneath the photo, so I'm sticking the other border strip up the top, and then I'm going to add the floral piece down the bottom there. Sorry, I don't know, does anyone else use iMovie on their iPhone? And when you're trying to edit, not so much the editing, but the voiceovering, I don't understand why it does this, but they put the voiceover recording section that shows you that it's recording, and you push stop and start over the top of your layout. It is very difficult to see. It's already a small screen anyway. And then, anyway, sorry, I digress. But if you use iPhone or iMovie on an iPhone to edit your photos, kudos to you. To edit your videos, well done to you, because I find it very difficult. I wish I had a Mac. I don't. I have a PC, so I can't use iMovie on my Mac. I think that would be so much easier to do it on a big screen. And I just haven't found a great recording and editing package for a PC that doesn't cost a small fortune. You know, when you don't make any money off YouTube, it's a hobby. It's fun, and I enjoy making videos, but it's definitely a hobby. And, you know, I don't want to fork out hundreds of dollars for a program that I don't know how much use I'll get out of. Anyway, I digress. Back to sticking. All the things are being stuck down. I am getting near the end. I know it doesn't feel like it, but we are. And what I would say is I love using challenges and being involved in Facebook pages and stuff that have challenges, because it really makes me try new things in scrapbooking and think outside the square, use up my stash. I haven't purchased any new scrapbooking products yet this year. Now, I know it's only the end of February, and I had a baby, which makes it easier not to spend money, because I can't, well, not that I can't go anywhere, I don't go anywhere. He is having his vaccinations next week. So once that has happened, we will probably start getting out and about a little bit more. We wanted to wait for his vaccinations before we went out, and I'll kind of explain all of that in another video. As I said, there's a bit of a story to his birth, so I'll give you a bit more information in another video. But yeah, we're just waiting for his vaccinations and his checkup and my checkup for our 6-week checkup, and that is next week. So yeah, time flies. I can't believe he is 5 weeks old today, actually, as I'm filming this voiceover, and it's just crazy. It feels like forever, but it also feels like time has just flown. Weird sensation. So again, creating my clusters, I was determined to get this flamingo on a page, even though it's not pink, and I thought flamingos were pink. This flamingo is purple. But I was determined to stick it down there, because where else am I going to use a flamingo? So it's going on. And then I added, in fact, the purple clusters were my favourite to create. I find purple a very difficult colour to scrapbook with, but in this scenario, I did actually, it was easy to use because it was part of a rainbow. And actually this was supposed to be a blue, but the mist was indigo, which I didn't realise until after I'd sprayed it. And I was like, oh, it's a lovely purple colour. So that was a nice surprise. So I've created my little clusters. I'm going to stick them all down and add a few more bits and pieces onto the layout. And then I'm nearly done, I think. So I'm sticking down, I didn't want the big gold bits. There is some gold sprinkled through the layout just as accents on mainly the writing on some of the die cut pieces, but I didn't want those big half circles worth of gold, so I do cut those off. I stick them over the edge and I cut them off. There's 2 of those that go onto the layout, and I'm sticking down this little mason jar, which again has some gold accent, but it's not so noticeable. and sticking the flamingo down the bottom and a leaf over the top, as well as again another one of those half circles with the gold, which I do cut off. So I'm adding that little cluster, and then I'm finalising, well, I will be finalising the mason jar cluster, and the cluster near the photo. And then we're almost done. I just then add the title and a few other little accents, and that is the layout finished. So what I will say is, while it took a long time to complete this layout, it wasn't particularly difficult because I'd done all the pre-planning. So I knew what I was doing. I'd got out all my ephemera pieces and, put them in those little tubs. So it was really just a matter of working out what worked together and then creating my little clusters and sticking them down, following the rainbow order. So it actually was quite a simple layout to do. Even though it's busy, and time-wise, it took a long time, but it wasn't particularly complicated. So yeah, Facebook groups and challenges, love them. I think it's one of the only ways that I have done a lot of scrapping in these past probably 6 to 8 months, is definitely using Facebook pages and challenge sites and things like that to help me with my scrapbooking. So I was trying to work out what I wanted my title to be. And I found these stickers in my stash. They're old stickers. I can't remember the collection that they're from, but I liked the word play. I thought that worked quite well because it was just me playing around with the Snapchat filter, and I just thought that would work. So I used that as my title, and then I had basically I'd nearly used up, as you can see there, a lot of these stickers, and I wanted to consolidate them down to like one page. And so they had a few XOs and crosses or plus signs on the page, and I just decided that I would add them to each cluster. So they are silver. There is some gold on the layout too, but I don't care. I don't mind mixing my metals. I think it looks great. I have no problems whatsoever doing that. And there isn't a lot of other gold on the layout. There is a few, but not a heap. But you can see me there. I'm just sticking down those XOs to the layout, and eventually I work out that I am going to put one on each cluster. So I do have to move a couple just to make it work. So that top one I just moved there. It did rip up the paper a little bit, but I fixed it, stuck it back down, and covered it. You can't even tell. And then I think we are done. Here we go. I'm showing you close-ups. I hope you like this layout. I will see you in the next video, and bye.